let's do a little Eldora talk
well,
here.
hang on. I got a question. So, bigger thrill taking off from pit road at the Indy 500, like you made a pit stop and you're accelerating, or when that Christmas tree drops green in that alcohol funny car, when it launches, which is more of an adrenaline rush to you? You think?
No doubt the dragster.
Yeah.
Because you're really accelerating with the pit stop at Indy. When you leave, you're on cold tires. You're not up to speed, so you don't have a lot of downforce, and you're on the warm-up lane, the apron, which is flat as a pancake.
Right.
So you got to be aggressive leaving the pits, but you've got to be on your toes, and it's not like you're just wide open in first shift, wide open in second shift. You're really being smooth when you leave pit road.
And that drag car, you're sitting there and you're basically holding a handbrake. That throttle's wide open. When that goes, you let go and it takes off, right? I don't think a lot of people realize that. It's not like when it goes green, you mash. You basically let go of that trans brake or whatever it is,
and it's gone.
You launch.
So the Top Fuel dragster just has a handbrake.
Just a handbrake.
So
I gotcha.
You're literally, when you go to stage, you're feathering the clutch out till you get the pre-stage bulb, the top half lit, and then you push the clutch in. Kind of pump the brake again. And when you're ready to fully stage, then you literally step off the clutch. And basically what it feels like is if you put a car with an automatic transmission, when you put it in gear, it's going to start pulling.
Yeah.
Right.
So with the dragster and the funny cars.
Now, are you really putting a lot of handbrake in it to keep it back?
Yes. Yeah, you got to hold it back.
Is that why your right arm's getting so big nowadays?
It's
There it is.
There it is.
Don't arm wrestle Tony on the right anymore because he's been holding back.
Well, no, my right arm's getting stronger. I had shoulder surgery in the off season on my left arm, and that was my dominant arm.
Right?
Fair, yeah.
So now I've
you be
bulked up
considerate,
my right
Bubba.
side.
The man had surgery. Damn.
Oh, I know. I mean, I don't mess with him.
He doesn't mess with me after I've had surgery.
I don't think anybody messes with you.
I wrestled him one time, and I kicked his ass one time in New York City when they all jumped on me one day. I kicked a hole in two-tire crew's ass.
Before you came in, he also claimed that he kicked Tyler Erb's ass. So there's a lot of ass kicking that people can't defend themselves.
I can't. Hold on. Listen, Ben Sheldon, you're going to see everybody today and the next
Eventually,
day. You're going to who won? Who won between Turbo and Bubba Clem? Who won? And the only two people that saw it were, I think, Devin Moran was there, and I think maybe Brian Shirley might have seen it. But I whipped his ass. I had him in
two solid references right there.
That's two solid. That are probably both going to say Tyler won. So I will get back to you.
So listen, bitch, when you hear back.
That's the second bitch in 10 minutes.
When you hear back that Bubba had him in a full-blown bear hug, ready to take him down, Warsaw, Indiana style, you're going to give me my proper due.
Wait, let me make sure I understand the story correctly. When he was getting ready to take him down, or you took him down?
So it's a big difference.
We're right there at turn one, and where all the racers gather at my track, and Tyler says something like, "Man, Bubba, look like you're getting kind of solid," or something like that. And, did you used to wrestle? And I go, "Yeah, I used to wrestle." And he goes, "Well, so did I. Let's go." So I said, "Okay, let's go." So I get my little stance, and I immediately slap him inside the head, like bam, because that's what you do. You try to distract the guy.
Duly noted.
And then at that point, I grab his right wrist. Well, I pull his right wrist. Well, if you know anything about wrestling, as soon as you pull your right wrist, you pull back, and you automatically are giving your guy the left wrist. And I arm drug him and got behind him, and that's where it stopped. But I had my head so buried deep into his chest that my glasses broke and caused I got a little cut on my nose, and I started bleeding, and we had to stop the event because I was bleeding. So
you lost by default.
I guess I was the bleeder in the deal.
We got a bleeder.
I was in better position.
Probably wore a pair of glasses that were sketched to begin with.
He probably did. It was staged.
They were fat heads, man. They were fat heads.
Get him out.
Rico fat heads, buddy.
They actually were remote controlled, Tony. He blinked and somebody hit it from over there, and he's like, "I'm bleeding. I'm done." So the first time you go up and you do the true launch, you've done a lot of cool shit. You've done sprint cars, midgets, Indy cars.
He's done it all.
Does it almost scare you that first time when you feel that the first time?
He was scared.
Absolutely, no doubt.
Real seriously,
no doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, I've ran 20 runs in a Top Fuel car now. I ran the entire season in the alcohol car, which was about 75 runs last year. And
did well,
I'm
too.
still scared.
Should have won the damn thing.
No joke.
Yeah, we should have. I mean, we just kind of fell off a little bit at the end of the season and missed things a little bit.
Is that what feeds you, though? Are you always looking for that next thing that's going to give you that little bit of speed-wise to
not
scare
necessarily.
you? No,
it's not the speed that feeds me. I mean,
He found what he's been looking for.
I get excited about going to Fort Wayne.
Tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Hey,
Bubba, we're having an interview down here, Bubba. If you could hang tight, that'd be great.
Shut up. So. You don't know anything about Fort Wayne and the Rumble with the Munchkin bitch. You never been there like I have.
That's when we stay
at the shady ass Ramada Inn and Tony closes the bar down and buys drinks for everybody. You don't know anything about being
a three-time bitch champion.
Hoosier. You're not a Hoosier.
I'm a
You're
volunteer.
an Arkansasian.
No, that Tennessee, definitely not Arkansas.
It's even worse. You might have had relations with somebody that's related to you. Us Hoosiers, on the other hand, we're salt of the earth, my friend.
Salt.
So Tony gets excited about going to the Rumble.
You do.
Tony gets excited about going to the Rumble.
It's not about the speed, though. In all honesty,
is it not?
It's literally about you look at all the different forms of motorsports I've been a part of. It's literally about trying. I've enjoyed trying new things, and you always get the people to say, he won't be successful in this. He won't figure this out. And then you figure it out, and you go win a couple races.
Yeah. You can say that about some racers. They can't say that about you, buddy.
Get that.
So I think that's the fun of it for me, is just trying to do different things. And it's not like I search them out, but all these are just unique opportunities that have presented themselves. And next thing you know, you're trying something different. You're like, wow, this is cool. And like I say, it's fun to learn a different discipline. But I would say the NHRA with the dragster, it is like Fantasy Island. It's off on its own little island to the right, where everything else, whether it was late models, sprint cars, Indy cars, NASCAR.
There were tangents. You had tangents in those.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables.
And there's a certain amount of comfortability that you get into it as well, because you've been doing it so long. So getting in going to Dover for the 46th time wasn't a big deal to you.
Right.
But every time you strap into however many 15,000 horsepower things right below your crotch, right there. That's different every time, right? I mean, no two races or no two drags are probably ever the same.
No, and I think the biggest misconception, and I used to watch it religiously on TV. Once Austin Prock got in the sport, because we were buddies, and he ran his midget out of our shop, and so we would watch him, and especially qualifying. While we were loaded into a racetrack and unloading things, we had a TV at the back of the trailer, and we would watch. But I think the biggest misconception about it is that everybody thinks they fire them up, they do a burnout, they back up, somebody's backing them up, telling them where to go. They get stopped, they pre-stage, the engine guy gets up there and twists a couple knobs, they stage, and then off they go, and they just run straight down through there until you're around it and realize there's way more going on than that. And when you stand straight behind one of those cars, they never go exactly straight. If they go absolutely string straight, it's slow. So the fast runs are when they're moving around a little bit, because they're on the edge, and the tire's in a controlled slip all the way down the track. So it never hooks up one-to-one.
That aerial of watching a Top Fuel or Funny Car, and to your point, watching it go back and forth. I was talking before you came in. Clay Milliken's a good friend of mine, and Clay was talking about the worst experience of all is the tire shake. When the tire, he said that's when you hit the G's that no human body's meant to get. Have you had that yet?
I had it in the alcohol car, but not to the severity that some of the nitro cars do. It beats the brakes off of you. I mean, I've literally had a run. I had multiple runs this year where it shook in qualifying or race runs, and literally have a headache for 3 or 4 hours afterwards.
Now, is a tire shake worse at the beginning, or as you've built up, 230 miles an hour and you get one towards the half track or 3/4 track? Is a tire shake more violent to you as your body early on or later on, or is it all just the same?
Most of the time, if it shakes really early, you're just going to abort the run,
right?
Because trying to pedal it that early isn't going to get you there. And I can only speak of the experience from the alcohol car. Normally around 1.5 to 2.1 seconds into the run, which the run's a 5.2 second run to the 1/4 mile. So well before half track, probably a third of the way down the run, it was the trouble spot for us. When it shakes there, it shakes hard, but you have a chance to recover from it and not have to abort the run necessarily. So it's those, we talk about in racing, whether it was Cup or sprint cars, late models, whatever, you talk about making split-second decisions. Now take that split-second decision and make a split-second decision on that split-second decision. That's what you have to do in drag racing, and that's the part that absolutely blows my mind about it. there's so many things that happen in a run that is less than 4 seconds long. And to be able to sit there and analyze when it starts to shake the tires, sometimes it's a weak enough shake that you can drive through it. But you have to be able to make that decision in your mind and make your foot do what it needs, whether it needs to do nothing but just stay on the gas, or whether you, in those cars, the alcohol car, we would call it a slap, where you'd get out of it and right back in. You had to make those decisions so fast and know what you could or couldn't do and what you could get away with. That's one of the things that impresses me about it.